And we're live.
And we're live.
I stole it.
That's all right. It ain't worth much. It ain't worth much, at least at the moment. I can't remember the name of the other place that they were talking about. I guess there's a streaming platform, or a platform that's better for art.
Oh yeah?
And so all the stuff that we put in here, and generally I run it from StreamYard, not from YouTube. But all the stuff that we put in here, it would be put into all the other platforms too. So like if I was streaming on X and streaming here and then streaming on Twitch, then they would just go out to all three places and we would get views from all three places. Twitch monetizes too. And I've heard a lot of people telling me to go over to Twitch. The only thing that holds me back is that I don't know really anything about that, and there's so many people on Twitch.
Yeah.
So,
I have never once been on Twitch. I have never used it. I guess I'm an old man with gray in my beard, and I just...
No, Twitch is pretty much close to as old as YouTube, as far as I know. Jim Lee does a stream on Twitch, which is how I found out about it.
Oh, I knew about it from... I've seen people mention it, and it seems like it's more for people who want to play video games and have people watch them, which...
It's video games, it's art. There's a lot of manga art there, or anime. Musicians use it. It just depends. But Alec only had like 5 streams, and he was saying like he's got like a few people, but the people that had come onto his stream, there was a lot of people that just stopped in to check it out. And at least 1 or 2 of them was talking about how it was nice to see a stream that wasn't manga and wasn't, video game or whatever. So, I mean, it's a platform. You have to get known for what you're doing, and people have to want to see what you're doing, right?
That generally helps, yeah.
As long as you can do something that people are going to watch, I don't think it matters what stream you're putting it on. Wow, that was interesting.
Basically, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah, something like that.
Ugh.
That's not exactly how I was thinking of putting it, but it equates to the same thing. You can build your platform up wherever you want to. It's like I've seen people from Comicsgate on X, and then what's his name's on X? What the fuck's his name? Ted? No, is it Ted? No. Tucker Carlson. But because Tucker Carlson is on X doesn't mean that it's all political. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is you can build your stream anywhere, and if you build a stream in multiple places, then you get multiple people watching for you, and you get possible income from multiple places. Alec had 5 streams. He doesn't have nearly as many subscribers as we have, and he's on the verge of being monetized.
Huh.
So I think that needs to be taken into account. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, monetization doesn't mean that I expect that I'm going to make a lot of money. It really means that it'll help pay for the channel or help
pay for the paints.
Well, maybe help pay for the paints, but maybe help pay for the yearly payment that I make.
For your StreamYard?
Yeah, for my StreamYard, for whatever, really. But I'm not looking to get wealthy from a stream. That's kind of foolish. And don't get me wrong, if that should happen, yay!
Yeah.
But,
I won't turn the money down.
Right. That's like the sponsorship. I was kind of hoping that it would be noticed that I was not only using Golden Open for everything, but promoting them and, linking to them and all that. And it would have been nice to get a sponsorship from them so that I could afford to paint, a lot more instead of worrying about, how I'm going to cover paint or how I'm going to get whatever.
Right.
Whatever. I'd love to have Princeton brushes sponsor me and Golden sponsor me. Like even like what I'm using right now is getting ready to use the Golden fluids or the liquid acrylic, but they're basically the fluid version. Would be the equivalent of liquid test soft. I don't know, I guess I got a partial purple fingernail. All of this for this stream.
Oh, yeah.
It should wash off. Let's see if I can do this without actually leaking it all over the damn table this time, or leaking it all over the I got quinacridone magenta too, but I don't think I'm going to use it unless I have to. I pulled up the dioxazine purple because that's what I did with the Golden Opens, the dioxazine purple, and just mixed it with white. So that should be the equivalent, only quicker drying. And a brush. That's what I really need, is to get more brushes. Not only to get more brushes, but to get more size brushes, like widths and dips and stuff. Well, that was kind of dumb. I grabbed this brush. Because it was small enough to fit inside the inner wings, and then I go for an area that's big. Not my finest thinking. Maybe more. Maybe more. No way, kid.
more stuff? For you more?
What are you doing?
I.
Well, I guess that's the answer.
Booger I. Want to booger I.
Yeah, you break the ice. I get it.
Yeah. I want to do that.
Yeah, it's probably not good to do that on the live stream, but whatever.
Okay. You're good.
You know that clinking is because I'm using a long-handled brush.
Okay.
In a short-handled situation. You're not on my list of finest moments.
Cigar. Oh man. Cigar.
Okay, yeah, take your stickers
Hey,
off.
Jason Duran says, "Hi, Rich. Nice veins."
Oh, hey, thanks. Goliath aren't bad either. Jason does the Star Wars fan comic.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
He's got his own channel. He had a channel before I had a channel, so.
There's a. Let me see if I can find something I can. I'll just send it to you, Rich, but it makes me laugh and chuckle. It's about Star Wars, though. It's taking for. I don't know if my computer is just slowing down. I don't know if it's the video, the 8 bajillion tabs I have open, little things like that. But
Couldn't be.
it's being a little slow. There we go.
Did you smack it?
No, I didn't smack it.
American ingenuity and all that jazz.
No, but I sent it to you in Messenger. Enjoy. And just remember, I love Star Wars. I love it. So, even with the sequel trilogy being as unfulfilling as it was still Star Wars. Of course, I think my fandom of Star Wars kind of starts with James Bond, because since I don't mind how bad some of the James Bond movies are, it's like, well, that's not the best one, but it's got cool parts. Like, they all have something good in them. So,
have you read Moonraker yet?
Nope, haven't gotten to that one yet.
Yeah, that's the third one, but wait till you read Moonraker and then watch the movie.
Oh, is it like radically altered?
Oh yeah.
Well, I figured as much. I mean,
Moonraker the book doesn't go into space.
Because that's a little far-fetched, but...
Huh?
Because it's let's face it, that movie's a little silly. Although ultimately, I really love it.
That wasn't really what I was saying. I'm just saying it's so different.
Okay.
It's it doesn't go into space. It doesn't have anything to do with going into space.
Well, a lot of the movies.
Moonraker, the book, the Drax is really kind of deformed. He's a redhead and he's a Nazi in England. And basically, he's got everybody fooled that he's a survivor of some attack, and he's convinced the government to pay him to create a missile that's basically a intercontinental ballistic nuclear missile for the defense of England, and it really is coordinates aimed at England when it launches for the test. So he intends to nuke England with their own missile.
Oh, okay.
Made them pay for their own missile to nuke England.
I mean, not that I want to see England get nuked or anything, but that's kind of funny.
Well, I'm just saying it's a very, very different story. James Bond is trying to fight this missile launch that he finds out that it's basically a plan to nuke London, and it's not about him and Jaws in deep space and all that. The character Drax is there, but he's vastly different also.
I swear, I think I've spent my entire day, which isn't true, but it feels like I've spent my entire day making materials for my classes. Like, I'm still making material. Like, I took today off because I don't know if I told you about a couple weeks ago, I was coming home from Michigan and the car started acting weird. Like, check engine light came on and it throttled itself. I guess it's a design feature that once the sensor goes off, it'll basically kill half of your engine. So your speed severely limited and all this stuff, basically forcing you to go to a dealer or a repair shop.
Yeah. We just voted on that here, so that they can't do that anymore.
Well, okay, so
yeah, that way you can go to a repair shop, but the way they had it set now up here is that you had to go to a dealer to have some of that stuff fixed, because the repair shop couldn't get that.
Well, the car is under warranty and it needs a completely new engine. Which I guess that model of Sonata, they've known about this problem, so it's not something incredibly weird, but whatever. So they have to like tear the engine apart and document the whole thing and send it off to Hyundai, and then Hyundai has to approve the warranty, and it just takes time. And until it's approved, they won't pay for a rental, which is fine because I own 3 cars, so it just meant that one of the drivers in the family doesn't have a car. Not a big problem, right? I mean, it's just not. But they finally called and said, which is good because I was going to rent a car for this weekend. And now they're paying for one for me, which is nice. But I had to take care of that. I had to take the dog in to the vet. I mean, just a whole bunch of stuff that I had to do. And I would say the majority has been making stuff for my classes. It's just like, ugh. But I swear, part of the...
So you enjoy it?
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, I shouldn't have to make all this. And the only reason why I have to make this is because students aren't taking advantage of the opportunities I've presented them. So I had to find a different way to get them to practice.
Damn students.
Well, I know. Teaching would be a lot easier if it weren't for them, but I swear I have to teach the same stuff every year. Like, can't you guys?
It would be a lot easier if the students wanted to learn.
Well, yeah, I know, and that's okay.
Your problem is that half of them just don't want to learn; they don't want to be there.
Well, and I can't fault them for that. I mean, let's face it. I don't think I necessarily wanted to learn all the stuff that I learned.
They grow up and they're all like, "Oh, I wish I just stuck in school."
Well, yeah, I mean, you learn pretty early on that it was a sweet deal and that you've wasted, but whatever. I mean, that's what you're going to find out. But I mean, it's just, I don't know. Part of it is ego on my part. Like, I'm not going to let these kids have more stamina than me. So, like, they were not working on their grammar assignments. They'd get an F and not care. And these are the top class. They'd be like, yeah, but the assignment's done. And I'm like, yeah, but, or they wouldn't even do them. They'd be like, yeah, my grade's good enough. So I was like, so you'll only work on it if I lower your grade? Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's what they literally told me. And I was like, all right, okay, that's cool. I mean, again. So, it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, I guess because in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, I got this big bank of questions over indirect objects. All right. So I make one assignment that you can do as many times as you want, and it only takes the top score. And my thinking is you'll keep working at it till you have an A, because there's no reason why you can't have an A. But that was not their idea. Their idea is either A, I'm just not going to do it because I don't know how to do indirect objects, or B, I'll do it once and just take whatever grade I get. So instead of making just the one assignment now they get one every single day. And, it's like you can avoid a few, but the way that they're designed, like tomorrow's grammar assignment will not open until today's assignment has a score. And they all affect your grade. So if you decide not to do one, you're not going to do any of them. You won't pass the class. It's just a variation on what my wife calls hostage homework. And I'm like, I don't really want to have to do this, but since, they won't practice anything.
That's sneaky and she loves it.
What?
I said my wife said that's sneaky and she loves it.
Oh, okay. Well, as a student, wouldn't you rather just have one assignment you can keep working on until you got it done right and good, versus all these little tiny assignments that you have to just keep doing? And I mean, I don't know. But whatever. They've developed coping mechanisms based on other classes. And part of my job, I guess, is figuring out how to get them to practice the stuff they need to practice, whether they want to or not. And, some people are like, well, just make it exciting and interesting for them. It's like, that's a great idea. And if that's all it took, you just, snap your fingers. It's like what Elmore Leonard saying that, you just leave out all the stuff that nobody wants to read.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's super easy. No. So it's just one of those things. It's just a whole bunch of work. And the nice thing is once I make all this stuff once, then I can use it forever. But some of the stuff that I'm doing, like these grammar questions, I give them 5 questions. They get 10 minutes to do it total, and you only get one shot at it. So it's going to take whatever score you have. And these are all brand new questions. And because I don't really care when you do it, as long as you just do it, and because, I've got 40 kids taking this class, I make 25 questions for every 5 questions I want to ask. That way they get random stuff. Like you're not going to get the same questions as the person who did it next to you. And that way, it's the same type of stuff. Like I just wrote 25 questions over sentence types. Simple, compound, complex, compound, complex, that kind of thing. Those are all brand new. And I can use them forevermore. And if I want to, I can shift them to other classes and I can move them around, whatever. But because it's the first year I've taught these freshmen, everything's new. The vocabulary is new. And I also started making short essays that go on, like they get a short essay every day with some reading comprehension questions for it. Just basic practice of stuff that they should have. And if they just follow the normal progression of class, they'd probably get a lot less work. Or they wouldn't necessarily get less work, but it would be easier to get an A with the work that's there. Let's put it that way. Because, you wouldn't have 17 different assignments over indirect objects. You'd have the one that you could keep working on until it's good. But, I mean, if they won't do it that way, then I guess I won't offer it that way. I had a kid asking me, he was like, why, if we have an opening every day, a bell ringer activity type thing, and he's like, we have one of those every single day. I'm like, yeah, we've always had one of those every single day. Because we have that, why do we also need this grammar assignment every single day? And I said, well, let me go check something. And I opened up a couple of their grammar assignments. And I was like, see this grammar assignment? Class average is 10 out of 20. And it takes your top score. And it's been open for weeks. And it's been weeks since anybody did anything with it. So apparently you guys don't mind having low grades, which is all right, whatever. That's your decision. But it's clear you're not practicing here, so I have to provide other practice. If you guys had done this, and I warned them ahead of time about using your time wisely so you have less less work to do. But they don't listen because they're teenagers and they know more than me. So,
right.
But that's why they tell me, oh, you give too many assignments. I'm like, well, if you had done it the way I told you to, you'd have fewer assignments. So every time I said you guys are asking for more work, I am here to.
See, that's not what I would have said. You guys are assholes, probably.
No, because they're not. I mean, they're really. I mean, I will tell you right now, this is some of the.
Hey, some of my best friends are assholes.
That's true. You're talking to one, but I really think I have some of the best kids I've had in years, like just personality wise. So,
Oh, you're just thinking they're watching.
okay. I mean, I doubt they are, but okay. No, because I took today off, which I had told them, because I didn't tell them exactly what was going on, but I was like, there's a death in the family. I don't know when I'm going to be around this week. It's kind of up in the air. It's kind of up to my wife. Like, she had tossed around the idea of leaving tonight. And I was like,
Yeah, you said something about you not knowing whether you were going to be here, which is why I ask you all the time if you're
right. But I'm just saying I was upfront with my students that, this week is kind of, I'll be here as much as I can. I mean, again, when I found out on Monday, I still stayed and worked because there was nothing I could do. And my wife had my boys with her. So, like, she took the boys home. And I worked for the, 2 hours and then I went home. Not a big issue. But, it's, I've got obligations. Like, there's nothing else to it. Like, I feel guilty whenever I miss work, but a bunch of them didn't do the assignment today, which, joke's on them. Tomorrow's assignment won't open until today's is done. So, it's like, great, you took a day off, and now you have more work to do. Like, you're just piling it on. Good job, guys. You're thinking. But that's part of that teenage inability to really process very far ahead. That's one of the problems they have. But, that's normal, maturity stuff and whatever. I'm just happy one of my classes, there is a Veterans Day program going on tomorrow. So one of my classes, I don't really I'll set up a few things just in case it doesn't last the whole hour, but I don't have to worry about that class too much. And then the rest of them are pretty much all good. I just had to make a whole bunch of things. And it's surprising how much crap I make every day. Because when I double it, I'm like, oh God, this takes forever.
So how's your wife holding up? I know you said it's extra hard because of who that was.
Yeah, it really is kind of like losing her mom. So, her mom's still alive, but, it's either like losing her mom or losing her big sister. It kind of depends on, because Mary Ann was, I think her obituary said she graduated in 81. And Rhonda graduated in 94, so they're 13 years apart. But that's not that big of a difference at this age, especially. So it's just one of those things. Like, we've lived in their house before. Like, when I talk about being homeless in Ohio, it's not exactly that we were homeless, but we had places to go, but none of them were ours. Right. So, like, we couch surfed for a while, and then we stayed there for a while, and then we left. But, like, when Rhonda was pregnant with Thaddeus, and Whit was 1, I got a job back in Indiana, and so they're staying with my aunt and uncle while she's finishing out, because we were on Medicare or Medicaid, whatever it is, because, being homeless, they'll give you government benefits like that. And she watched out for my wife and helped her. Like the first night when Thaddeus would not shut up, he just kept screaming. Marianne was there to give my wife a chance to sleep. I mean, she's always kind of been the matriarch of that side of the family, at least for a while, and it sucks that she's gone.
Yeah, definitely get it. That's kind of why I was asking, because families are so strange these days, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not the ones that you think you would be.
So it's just one of those things where she's crying a lot and she doesn't like to be asked about things, and she's like, if one more person asks how I am, I'm gonna punch them.
Wow. Yeah.
I was like, okay. So just little things like that. Just she's holding it together as best as she can.
Not trying to punch me because it will hurt her fist on the screen. and I had the best of intent.
Yeah, I know. That's just like, cause I told my students, I was like, right now my wife is in charge. Like whatever she wants, that's what she's getting. And I'm like, it's my job to go and make sure that food's done and make, whatever. Some of the stuff I haven't been willing to do because I think my wife needs to, I didn't mind going back to work when I found out the news. Like I was devastated, but at the same time, I'm like, I need something to distract myself.
Right.
If I sit around and think about it, I'll be miserable. So some of the stuff it's like, I do whatever she asks me to do and things that I see that she needs, and some of the stuff that she normally takes care of, I still let her take care of it because I'm like, you kind of need to do something.
Yeah, it's hard, especially when you just want to shut down.
Yeah. Like she's not looking forward to going.
If you gotta live your life, you can't just shut down.
Right.
You gotta do what you need to do. You can't stop living. As much as you miss somebody.
That's like
completely stinks, but yeah.
She's already basically told me, she's like, if I'm not sober all day tomorrow, that's like, you're just gonna have to. I was like, that's fine. If you want to go get drunk, go get drunk. I don't care. If you're with your cousins and you guys, like, I can be the designated driver. I don't care. Like, I'll do whatever you need. So, we'll see. Yep.
You have to double check. I wasn't sure if I already picked her or not.
Okay, I get that the main focus is on Goliath, and that's where we're supposed to be looking, and I know you're not done or anything, but the stuff you did on that steeple just looks great.
Oh, that's still not done right. No, I'm just trying to get Goliath close, and then I'm still, I'm going layer by layer.
I get it. I thought that last time we were on that I was like, I really like the way that steeple looks, which is dumb because that's really not what I was supposed to be looking at. But
no, that's fine. I wanted to evoke whatever, a certain feel. I wanted it to look like tarnished brass almost. You know what I mean? I wanted that kind of tarnished color like that. And if you're looking at it, that's because I've achieved that. And with the color palettes, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I was talking about using color so that blue and orange are really the opposites, but green and orange will make each other stand out too. And I've got a little bit of blue in that green to kind of get that color that I've got there. It's grayed out and it's blue green. But purple and green are opposite, so it's like I'm playing with complementary colors. And if you're looking at that steeple, I've done my job because I'm playing with complementary colors so that each part of it kind of stands out a little bit, but nothing more than anything else except Goliath. And I'm not done with Goliath. Once, what I'm doing on him right now is just to kind of get some modeling shape in there.
Yeah.
I wanted to use something, like I wanted to use these particular, I'm not using golden opens except for the white, because I really wanted to get it to dry so I can have a really good detailed blended thing and it be dry enough to work on the next part of it. So I'm kind of toying around with that, but yeah, I have every intention to go back to that steeple with those colors and make them a little bit more 3D. They're really, really rough and grainy now, but I was using the opens, and I'm really thinking about using opens in a different context, I guess would be the best way to put it. And I'm thinking that if I use opens to highlight and like glazing, like I said, glazing is darkening, so I need to wash too. But if I'm using it to wash and glaze, then I'm basically using it just to smooth out the colors, so I can lay the rough colors and rough shapes down, which is what I'm trying to do right now, because I want, this leg is in the light. And should appear that way for the most part. But I can real lightly go over some of this stuff, and I can water this down and mix it or whatever, but it still dries faster. So I get a fairly decent blend, and it dries fast enough that I can move on to the next piece and see I'm not worried about picking this up. By the time this is dry, like I can go over to this leg or go over here,
Yeah.
and all this other stuff, I can lay my hand on it without worrying about screwing it up like what I was doing with the opens every time, because they stay moist for so long. But like it's all positives and drawbacks. But right now, like he's looking a little bit darker because I did a pale coat, and now I'm doing some dimensionality and some light stuff on it. That's going to dry darker because it's acrylic, and acrylic dries darker. But I can lighten all this stuff up later on, so I'm not worried about lightening it up at the moment. Also, there's pretty much a rule of thumb that when you go, the further you go down on something, the more in the shadow it's going to be.
Makes sense, since the light source, if it comes from on high, would
Right, and it's
block
like
it.
it's an unspoken rule, but it's like it's pretty much a fantasy staple. So it's this is that pushing and pulling that I was talking about that people shouldn't be afraid to do when they're painting. Like I can add this, and then if I want to lighten it, I can come back through and lighten it up. Later on, or darken it up, or whatever. I do realize the more that I paint with these, that I definitely need a bigger collection of brushes. I need different size rounds because the ones that I've got can get into so much, but they can't get into the super fine stuff. And then the super fine stuff, it's like almost wants a detail brush. These regular goldens, not golden opens, regular opens that dry faster. They work better with people who, like me, are impatient. The opens take a lot more patience to get where you're trying to go. And also, another thing that I'm trying to employ is, or as Goliath talked about, when he paints, he tries not to stop in the middle of something, like he'll paint the arm.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, He said if he has to stop for painting, he'll cut off like at the belt or something, and then pick it up at the legs later on or something. But he doesn't want to cut off in the middle. And I can see why. Like you're getting into blending and you know what you're doing.
Right.
What do you say he was leaving?
What?
Big walrus. I too like them big. Big walrus.
It's my son. He
Yeah.
thinks he's funny.
Ah.
Emphasis on the thinks.
Oh, well, hey, at least he thinks.
That's true.
Falling star. I love the truth the fan.
I kind of told you were gonna.
I know. I did it. That's another way.
I feel like you achieved something. Setting up the Christmas tree, and she just got hit by a falling star.
Oh.
She's talking about the Christmas tree star, and I was telling her she was setting it up, and she pulled it out in the middle of the floor. I think she was trying to get a better look at it.
Yeah.
But
Walk around it.
but when she pulled it out to the middle of the floor, it was right in line with the ceiling fan.
I walked into the
And I'm like, that's probably not the place you want to keep it, because the ceiling fan. And she's all like she wasn't gonna do that and all that, and she just did that.
I did it anyway. I got it out of my system now. So
So she's got it out of her system.
Sometimes you just got to try it, Or I suppose, as my parents would have said, sometimes you just got to learn for yourself.
Now I'm over here like, don't you know that you are a shooting star?
Oh, now we've lost 5 viewers.
Hey, well, that's great because we didn't have 5 viewers. So if we lost 5, then a couple of them stopped in to go.
Okay.
Hey, and that's an achievement when they stop in just to make sure they can leave on it.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. One of the things that my wife does to kind of avoid that whole "you're putting your Christmas tree up too early" argument that some people, I don't care when people have their Christmas trees up. Like, it's your house, man.
Yeah, we don't have that argument because he's like, I want to put the Christmas tree up, and I'm like, it's not still up. Why?
But Rhonda she'll put up our Christmas tree, but she doesn't decorate it for Christmas. She decorates it for autumn.
Yeah.
And then it goes up in September and it stays up through Thanksgiving, and then after Thanksgiving she can switch it over to Christmas. And so I guess from September through the end of the year, I've got a tree up and it's got lights on it, and they're not all the same, but
as far as I'm concerned, she can put a Christmas tree up whenever she wants to put a Christmas tree up.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Christmas.
Me too.
I'm
a fan of Christmas trees.
Christmas. Right, like we both like Christmas as our favorite holiday. So we don't run around doing glow in the dark reindeer and all this crazy shit or whatever. We just she usually does a kind of steampunkish theme. I think she's changing a little bit from that this year, but like, I'm one of those that I love to watch the Christmas movies. You know, and Christmas
Like
specials and all
Gremlins?
that were great for me growing up.
Like
It's like
Gremlins?
one of the few things that I really, really dug.
Die Hard? Lethal Weapon. Yeah, that's a good Christmas movie. No. Iron Man 3. That's a good Christmas movie.
Yeah, that's not the ones I watch. Well, like, I wouldn't not watch them or whatever, but they have no nostalgic significance for me. Like, I don't have attachments. I don't have any kind of emotional attachments to Die Hard or any of that. So, I mean, if you do, fine. I mean, that's cool. I like movies that are like really old traditional movies. I really like the Alistair Sim Scrooge, and we watch the obligatory Christmas Story.
I always thought it was interesting because, you know, growing up, like I loved every year watching Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on TV. Loved it. But then one year I noticed how many commercials are on it. And there are a lot of commercials. And then I bought it on DVD and found out how incredibly short that movie is. But they stretched that bad boy to like 2 hours on TV, and you're like, you know, if you weren't showing commercials every like 10 minutes, it's probably more than that. It's probably like 5 minutes of show and 15 minutes of commercials. It's kind of insane. It's also kind of Machiavellian when you think about it's there to sell you Christmas toys, but I still love it.
I don't know if I'd call it Machiavellian, but yeah, I mean, it definitely has an alternative purpose.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I still love them. I mean, like, you got the abominable snowman and the dentist elf and all that shit. Like Hermes, yeah.
Hermes.
I like the Charlie Brown Christmas stuff. I like, you know, like the Jimmy Stewart collection too.
See, the problem with what is the one that's the most? Oh God, the one with the angel and the wings and the.
Well, that's the Miracle on 34th Street, right? Or are you talking about the It's a Wonderful Life?
It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, that's the Jimmy Stewart one that I was talking about. I love to watch that one too.
My father got pissy one year and like forced us to watch this. Like I'm like, how? Okay, whatever. So he's ruined the movie for me. Like, I can't watch that movie without thinking about him getting pissy. And it just, you know, if I had found that on my own, I'm sure it's a great movie, but it's like,
yeah, it's a modern day Scrooge, really.
Yeah.
Except for in the opposite way. He was a good guy that didn't think he was such a good guy.
Right. Oh.
I love it because it evokes, you know, family memories for me, and I was pretty much an only child. Like, it was just visiting Joe's family, or it was just me on my own. So the things that I did with my mom on Christmas and the things that I watch with my mom on Christmas, those are things that have some kind of specialty to me, I guess. I would never tell my kids they have to watch it, but I love to have them watch them with me. I wouldn't tell them they had to. I used to tell them it was a family tradition because it was a family tradition.
Yeah.
In my family, on my side, but like the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving special, right? That was something. Yeah. That was something Joe really, really loved. So much so to the point where I actually bought him a copy of it while he was staying with us in North Carolina. It was something a little special because of it, you know?
Yeah.
And I love Peanuts, but if you think about it, there's never really anything special. They're never really... I don't know. To me, they're never what you think of when you think of a Christmas movie, or when you know, the definition of Christmas movie or holiday movie.
We just like to goof off. I mean, trust me, there are like the Charlie Brown Christmas special is like a classic.
Yeah, but it's not. It's nothing really big, you know.
Okay, but
it's a classic, but why? You know, I guess that's what I'm saying. It's like it's not like it's a Wonderful Life or a Christmas Carol or a Christmas Story. It's a classic, but it's not that. I don't know if I. Yeah, well, it's just it doesn't feel like it has just meaningful. Like, I know they're trying to bring it back to the original meaning of Christmas, you know, but just the Peanuts kids never really did anything super exciting. Like, they seemed like they were gonna, but they really never did. Anyway, now that I've been a buzzkill.
Well, no, one of the things that we've always, I mean, there was a teacher at the middle school that I got my boys to kind of annoy with the talk of how Die Hard's a Christmas movie, Gremlins is a Christmas movie, Iron Man 3 is a Christmas movie, Lethal Weapon's a Christmas movie. You know, all these things that are not Christmas movies, but are technically Christmas movies.
Well, because they're set at Christmas.
Right. So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's
that's what Die Hard, that wasn't intended. Die Hard was intended to be a Christmas movie, because all the Die Hards were released around Christmas.
Right.
They were. That was an intentional move.
I
don't know if you realize that or not, but that was a particular choice. They had that set up all at a time. Same thing with Lethal Weapon. They were intended to be released at Christmas time, which is why they had Christmas themes in them and all that.
You know,
it was, it's the same thing as you were talking about selling toys, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't to sell toys, but it was. They knew that it was going to be something for the holidays. that it would be related to on the holidays. It would resonate with the holidays. Yeah, I've heard that a lot. You know, it ain't Christmas until what's his face falls from the Nakatomi Tower.
Yeah. It's not Christmas until Mowgli has an after midnight snack.
Yeah, now see the difference is Gremlins didn't hold up as well, because if you say that, 90% of the kids don't know what the fuck you're talking about these days.
Which is sad,
Who's
but
Mowgli?
because Gremlins is a great movie.
Yeah, it was alright.
I even enjoy the second one. Like, I know a lot of people pan that one, but I'm like, nah, that's still fun.
Oh, I like the scene where they're playing Angel of Death.
Yeah.
And Claire. They play Faith No More. Well, my teeth and my tongue.
I mean, it's just, to me, they're it's pure fun. So I have no problem with it. But whatever.
Yeah, I never really saw Gremlins as a horror story, even though that's kind of what they sold it as.
Yeah.
It felt much more like the Goonies than a real horror story. Almost.
But it's got its dark moments. I mean,
on those Goonies.
That's true.
I'm just saying, like, it didn't feel like it was a horror movie. I guess maybe a good horror movie. Horror movie for someone that was really easily scared.
Well, I mean, it's just, you got all these things going around and killing people. I mean, in weird and nasty ways, but they're kind of funny too. So
this could be one of those things where it's the difference in our age, like from what we saw it as at the time.
Oh, that's true. Well, let's just see. When did Gremlins come out? Because I remember seeing it in theaters. 1984. So
yeah, I was 13.
I was either 7 or 6, depending on.
Yeah, so it was a horror movie for you.
Yeah. Let's see, when exactly did it come out? Written, directed, produced, starring. Yeah. June 8th. It was a June movie. How? Well, still, that would have been. I was 6 when that movie came out.
Alright, so I was 12.
Yeah, that is.
But still, by the time I was 12, I was watching rated R movies by myself in the theater in the town that we were in, because that's how old you had to be to get into a rated R movie.
Oh.
So
I don't remember. I mean, I know I was. I'm not even. I mean, I know I wasn't even 16 when I was going to the movie theater by myself. My parents dropped me off. They didn't care. Or I'd go with friends that could drive. I mean, and we rented movies all the time, and my parents didn't care really what I watched, as long as, you know. Although, so my parents, you know, to some degree, had a built-in censor because, you know, the rental store is not going to rent porn to a kid. But I remember once I was dating my wife, and she had never seen The Fly, and I was like, "Oh, we got to watch that." So we go to the video store, and it's got that setup where
that's a really weird segue, right?
what? Okay, no, I don't care.
Well, I mean, it's a really weird segue. You're like, they're not going to rent porn to you or let you watch porn. So my wife hadn't seen The Fly.
Well, wait for it. So, you got the video set up where you have the boxes and then you have the little tags, and you bring the tag up to the front, and then they give you the movie, right? So I bring this tag up and, hand it to the guy, and he looks at it, and he looks at me. He goes, "Are you 18?" And I don't remember if I was at the time or not. And I don't think I was. I think my wife was at the time. Obviously not my wife at that time, but whatever.
Right.
But I was like, "No, why?" Well, he's like, "You can't rent this." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "What do you think you're renting?" I was like, "The Fly?" And he goes, "Yeah, that's not that movie. Nope, that's a different one. Hold on, let me go get..." Someone switched the tag on you. They had taken one of the adult movies from the adult section, taken the tag, and put it on The Fly. And that's what I was...
probably rented a porn and The Fly, and then just mixed them up when they brought them back.
Well, no, because the little tag thing stayed at the store. So, I don't know. Someone had to have done that intentionally. Or at least in my heart, they did it intentionally, because that's hilarious. But, yeah. All of us had a little bit of a chuckle. I think my wife was mortified that someone thought we were renting porn. But, whatever. I mean, if you're going to switch tags like that, The Fly is the perfect choice. Oh, golly. See, this is the problem with me having to drive tomorrow. Is that, like, if I'm on my phone, I can actually set this, like, all my classes up remotely. It's a pain in the butt on your phone, but it can be done. It can be done while someone else is driving. Oh. But I have to do it tonight, and normally all these things require, like, they each have their multiple steps to make up, and it's normally not that fast, or it's not that slow when you're doing it for like one class, but when you're doing it for all of your classes the night before, it's tedious. And, this is why I'd rather go to work than be gone most days. It's just easier to go in. That was the other problem for today. There was no sub for me. So I don't know if I'll get one tomorrow or not. Tell you what, though, it is so much easier doing this stuff at home because I've got two screens I can work on. When I have to do this stuff at work and I only have the one screen, I'm having to flip between tabs. You can't see things back. Oh, I hate it. And then I walk by like the office and they all have multiple screens for their job, but not me. Not, the whole reason the school exists is students I guess students and teachers. But we'll give the office personnel all the technology they need. Not that I'm bitter.
Oh, far be it for us to think that.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure they need them. Like, it makes all kinds of things easier. But, all right, if it makes it easier for them, don't you think it'd be easier on me too? Although there are some people that barely know how to use the computer, so whatever. But those of us who know what we're doing should be allowed to have better things. It's like whenever they do professional development, I swear to all that is good and great, they should have the technically proficient group and the Luddite group, and that way the technically proficient group can be done in like 5 minutes and go home. Whereas the Luddite group, it's like, oh, how do I turn this on? Like, oh. I mean, there's some stuff, there were computers in my kindergarten class. Please, by now you should be able to do a few things. I'm just saying, just a few. Copy and paste, I don't know. I don't understand not knowing the tools of your profession, I guess. I guess I'm kind of an egotist that way. Last night there was another Quiz Bowl meet, and we won, which is awesome. But it was the first one I had to be the.
I think Queasy Bowl. I know it's not, but every time I think Simpsons, North American Ball the Eighth.
Well, it's funny because a lot of times I just help keep track of score, and there's a lot of stuff that the guy who normally reads mispronounces or doesn't know how to pronounce, and I know how to pronounce it. So he's like, well, why don't you read? I'm like, all right, cool, I'll read, whatever. And I swear to God, there were so many things on that thing that I'm like, who comes up with, like, there was some Norwegian word in one of the questions. It was like, I don't know, 25 letters long. And I'm just like, what the? How is anyone supposed to know this? Oh, and then there was a question about Pokemon, which I don't know. I don't play Pokemon. And my son was so upset because I couldn't pronounce the words. And I'm like, it's made up crap. Who cares? But nothing will make you feel less intelligent than having to read out loud a whole bunch of stuff you can't pronounce in front of people who, like, it was like all these scientific terms that the other guy who teaches chemistry, he's fluent in. I'm like, why did you give me all the chemistry questions? The art questions I can do. The English questions I can do. You start getting into these weird things. And then it was weird because there was a section of questions about Japan, and my son was just knocking it out of the park. And I'm like, where the hell do you learn this? Like, I can't take credit for that because I don't know any of the stuff that he knew. So, I'm kind of impressed. Oops, that would be bad. I should talk less and do more work because I almost screwed this whole thing up. Oh, I've been beautiful.
What are you saying about using the tools of your trade?
Oh, I know how to use them. That's not the point.
I'm being facetious. You weren't paying attention and you almost screwed things up.
Well, the tools were... I used them exactly how they're supposed to be. It's just the fact that I was going to get a result that I didn't want because that's not the assignment I'm working on. That's like, I discovered today that I had not given an assignment to one of my classes. Now, I thought I had given it to him, And I asked my son, because he's in that class, I was like, did I give you that assignment? He's like, you talked about it, but you never gave it to us. I was like, oh. So, they got that today. I fixed it. But it's just one of those things a lot of times I will make one assignment the prerequisite to another assignment. And it was all grammar stuff. So I went looking for this assignment to make it the prerequisite and couldn't find it. So when I couldn't find it, the funny part was, like, I can see all of the assignments. I know it's not there. Like, it's just not there. But I'm so convinced that I've given this assignment that I still had to go ask my son, who instantaneously thought I was an idiot, which, okay, I was being an idiot. And it was only after he confirmed that I had talked about it but never gave it to him that I could go make it so that they had it. But it's just me being dumb, I guess. I gave it to the other class, that same AP class, just a different hour. I don't know how I forgot to do it for the 7th period. But I did. Could have been a day when the internet went down. Could have been a day when they had to go do something stupid, like, I don't know, a pep rally. God, I hate pep rallies. I am the biggest bah humbug person when it comes to pep rallies. I hate them. I've always hated them. Forced excitement is not exciting. So, a buddy of mine is the I think he's the vice president of the local union, and so I emailed him last night, or I messaged him on Facebook. I was like, "Hey, what are the rules on bereavement leave?" Because I knew I was leaving. I wasn't coming in today, and I wasn't coming in tomorrow because of this funeral. But it's my wife's aunt. I was like, I don't really know. Should I just take sick days, or should I take bereavement leave? Right? So I sent him, the question, and he said he messaged me back with the answer, and he's like, "Is there anything else I can do for you?" And I wasn't exactly sure. Because sometimes he can be, I don't know, kind of. Well, just, the fact that I was asking him after hours, even though we talk and hang out after hours, I was worried that he was kind of being. It was hard to read his tone. I couldn't tell if he was just trying to be helpful or if he was trying to be like, learn how to do your job, man. So, whatever. So he asked me, is there anything I can help you with? And I just sent back a GIF of somebody kind of just giving someone else the eye, like, "Ooh, yeah, I got something you can do." And so then when I went in this morning to set up my classroom in case I had a sub, I saw him before I left, and he's like, "Okay, I appreciated the side eye, but really, is there anything else we can do for you?" It's one of those things where, I don't know. I'd much rather just assume people are joking. Oh. I almost messed up that assignment too. Rich, you're a bad influence.
What's that?
You're a bad influence. I almost messed up this assignment.
How am I a bad influence?
Because you have me on here talking to you.
Oh.
It can't possibly be me and my lack of attention.
Yeah, guilty. I mean, whatever. That's not the worst thing I've ever been called. It's not the worst thing I've ever been called by people who I thought liked me.
Yeah. Nope. Oh, I might have to do some of this after the stream because, yeah, a lot of this just comes down to my brain is fried and I'm tired of doing this. So I know I'm going to screw something up.
Well, that's a pretty much guaranteed way to find that you're going to screw something up.
Oh. Most of it's just it's all the little tiny steps. Like, well, here's an example of something I've done before. I didn't do it tonight, but I've done it. Normally, the way I set up my vocab practice is there's a vocab practice for every single day. And depending on the level, but for this particular class, they get 2 words a day, but it's accumulative. And like I make the list, I publish the list, and then like tomorrow's vocab list, the assignment is repatriate and tremulous. It's 10 questions. You can do it as many times as you want. Takes top score. And the first 5 questions are all going to be about repatriate and tremulous. Like, if you have to guess one of those 2 things. And then the other 5 questions, it could be more questions over repatriate and tremulous, but it could also be any of the words they've had so far. So that's how like they're all set up. And on Monday, you're only going to have questions over the list for Monday because you haven't gotten to Friday's list, right? So that's all said and good. That's normally how I set things up. But I messed up one last week where I clicked on shuffle. So instead of the first 5 questions being all about the title, it was just random stuff that I was like, oh, well, I guess that one's going to be harder because once somebody starts it, I can't really alter it. So it's just dumb little mistakes like that. That's the kind of stuff that I'm going to start making. So I was thinking about that story that you and I had been tossing around ideas for. And a question kind of popped up, and I thought, yeah, that's kind of a good question. Originally, there was that call for submissions for the, so it all had to be
Prompt.
right, but well, I mean, that's whatever. But
I'm trying to keep the subject of the story out of the.
Well, but the prompt had that one specific setting detail.
Right.
And since we're not worried about that publication, why are we worried about that setting detail?
Because it's basically the premise. Because everything that we were discussing revolves around what our interpretation of that setting detail is. Like I guess it doesn't have to necessarily be a star or whatever, but
the only reason why I asked,
it has to be something that worked with the theory of collecting what they're collecting. Or
right?
I don't know.
You could.
We don't have to. That's the basis anyway.
I mean, I get the idea that so what they're in a nutshell, they're mining. I mean, however you want to gathering, collecting, whatever, but
whatever.
But they're harvesting a resource.
Mining. Yep.
Okay, but I'm just thinking, since neither one of us really gets the idea, I mean, because I don't know, part of that just
idea, but not how it works.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean,
but nobody really gets the idea how it works because that's why it's still a theory.
Well, that's true. I just was wondering. I'm like, why are we Not that we can't do it, because don't get me wrong. Like, if we want to continue with this, we continue with this. But I was like, but that shouldn't be something that has to be set in stone, because I mean, technically, they could go off and do asteroid mining or whatever. It's the same basic idea. So,
good point. Yeah. Because mining is mining.
Right. But I'm just, again, it's a cool enough concept, whatever. It was one of those things where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to.
I guess for me, you'd have to, I don't know if we could talk about it here, but like you'd have to tell me what you're thinking, because
that's
pretty much the core of what I was centering everything on. And if we're going to change that, I kind of need to know what we're changing it to.
Well, I get that. I understand that completely. And
I'm not necessarily opposed to it. I just, I got to have what the idea is.
The reason why I said, the reason why I started questioning it was some of the logistics of it would factor into some of the challenges that the protagonist would have to overcome. Like, we had talked about the prison aspect, and I had talked about, and I'd said that seems to me it'd be a one-way trip. Like, once you go there, you're never coming back. And that was a possibility. And it's like that because of where we were going to locate it. Right. Whereas if it's just, it's we send out our undesirables out into space and they have to go bring this much stuff back before their food runs out, or they just, die, whatever. Doesn't have to, it has different challenges for the protagonist. That's all. And
so when you say something like that, something like, why do we have to keep it there or whatever, it leads me to think that you have an alternate idea.
I actually don't. It's simply a matter of a lack of confidence when I don't exactly understand how it works.
Yeah, again, you're like, I don't think we need to be hard sci-fi.
And we don't.
Because that whole concept really isn't hard sci-fi, because even the guy who came up with the concept said it wasn't possible. The way that everybody thinks it was possible. So it's all conjecture anyway.
I was watching a reel, I think. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh boy.
I know, but he was talking about how when he saw episode 7, and you have the new and improved Death Star that sucks up the energy from a star and then destroys 6 or 8 planets or whatever.
That dude's so full of shit, though, man.
Oh, I know, but it's okay. But so he said that he did the math. And he's like, if you take all of the energy from a star, you would be a star. Like, you would, which is kind of, we had kind of talked about.
Star. You took all the energy from that star. You're a star.
Yeah.
Nice and Tesco.
Crap. So, and he was like,
talking about kinetic energy.
so, and then he was like, so ignoring that, maybe there's some kind of dampening contain whatever. He's like, whatever, I don't care. He's like, but ultimately, the amount of energy that a star would have is enough to kill, just to destroy thousands of planets. And they dampen that quite a bit in Star Wars. Not that Star Wars is hard science fiction, because it's not.
Right.
But when he was talking about that, some of that just made me wonder. I was like, I don't mind. It's an interesting, to me. I've got some interesting images in my head. So
we don't have to stick with that idea at all if you don't want to. When we talked about it and we thought about how we could make it work, or because we're not telling stories about the star, we're not telling stories about the science. We're telling stories about people,
right?
And it's all bullshit anyway. So
yeah, and I have no problem sticking with what we have. I also just kind of thought.
That's what I'm saying. Like we don't have to go with that. Like I don't have a problem going. Okay, like that's not really working for me. Like what would work for me better?
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that if you want to do that. But you have to kind of have an idea. Otherwise, it's not working for you any better. We've had many ideas that are pseudoscience,
Right.
And we could work with any of them, and we can combine any of them with the current thing, right?
Right.
So, if that's what you're interested in, we don't even have to write sci-fi or whatever, but I just thought that would be something, because we both kind of got a start on it.
Right, and I have no problem sticking with it. I just also wanted to float the idea that it doesn't have to be that, I guess. Not that I don't want it to be, because if it works, it works. Like right now, it seems like it's a decent enough idea. Some of the logistics are kind of a pain in the butt. But
it's not one solid idea yet anyway. We're still kind of hashing that out, so...
Right.
That's what I said, man. Don't be afraid if you've got a better idea or something that you think could work better or whatever to say something. I'm not opposed to anything right now. Just we had something that we had in common that started me thinking, oh, this would be a good idea to continue, and what could we play around with that idea. So it's not, nothing's set in stone, not supposed to be. Like until you and I go, okay, this is what we're doing.
Right.
Then it's still all possibilities. So don't, anything that you're thinking, throw it out there. If the worst that can happen is like it doesn't work for me.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
And the best that it can happen was like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. I want to do this with it. So, like. I think the idea of the crucible part of it is really what attracts me to it. The crucible being that everybody is there and they don't have a choice. They can't get out of there. They're all forced to be there together. That's kind of what attracts me to the idea.
Okay.
Does it have to be that crucible? No. Like you were talking about with the cult.
Yeah.
That's nothing like what I was thinking. But it's probably as far as where my brain was at that you could get.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, yeah, that's not kind of for me. And then as I was starting to think about it, I was like, well, yeah, we could do something that would be cool with a twist with that, and so I'm not really opposed to anything. Some things might take a little thinking.
Right.
But especially if they, encourage that thought, or the thoughts kind of flow freely from it. Like if you have a specific idea, that's something that, if you have an idea, if you have something in your head that you're passionate about with it, I'd say, start hashing that idea out and then let me know, and then I'll, look and see what I can add, or, what doesn't feel like is detracting from your idea. Because that's not what I want to do either. I don't want to do anything that's going to make you feel like your idea isn't, I don't know, workable or whatever. I'm trying to be freely accepting of ideas at this stage, right?
Right.
See if we can come up with something that really clicks.
Oh.
That, I guess, the idea that I suggested it for, and continuing that subject matter and continuing that particular crucible is that was the one that stuck in my brain. Like it's not I'm not trying to write for that contest. Obviously, that's not over.
Right.
But it stuck in my head. Like it was like, well, what we were talking about, I can see some of that. It kind of had that, it kind of had a little bit of Titan AE feel to it to me.
Okay.
When we first started talking about it, because of how the collecting would have had to happen.
Okay.
And the possibility of multi races, civilizations being involved. And that's, I think, what attracted me to it, and I was thinking about exploring that because that's what I thought was so great about Titan AE. That and the fun factor that you tend to just come up with when you're writing. You tend to, well, until you started doing all this dark stuff. But I mean, really, that was like when first attracted me to some of the stuff that you were writing, was how fun it was and how fun it came across. And that's I think that's lacking. The fun stuff that's out there is so fucking message driven that you can't enjoy it anymore. So like, I love the idea of bringing back some fun stuff. Even in a dark place, in a dark place.
You didn't think that did you think the Snarl and Umjet story was dark?
No, not really.
Okay, good, because
that's the kind of fun thing I was talking about. I mean,
okay, just
there is some stuff that you were talking about, and there are dark aspects to it.
Oh yeah, trust me, I've got other ideas that are way darker than that.
Oh, I'm sure.
But
like when I first started reading your stuff, the Quick Bandolier stuff was fun. The Maka story, that was pretty fun. I mean, originally, like,
yeah,
it kind of changed a little bit as it went, but originally it was pretty fun because it was like adventurous, and you're following a teenager, in troublesome situations, that's trying to get out of troublesome situations. But yeah, there was a sense of adventure. That all the stories pretty much that you've written long-wise. I think maybe that's one of the things that turned me off to the Bone story.
okay.
it didn't really have the fun element that you had in most of your stuff. And I'm just saying that might have been subconsciously one of the things that was like, this doesn't feel right, just because I'm so used to your things being more playful. Even if that seed creature one, the potbelly stove dude.
Oh,
Even that had a sense of fun to it. And it was pretty dark, and it ended up pretty dark, but it still had a sense of fun to it. And the bone one, I didn't really feel that sense of fun, I guess. I saw the possibilities. There were a lot of cool possibilities, but I just didn't get that same sense of wonder out of it. The same. I guess that's what you really capture, is that sense of wonder and the fun. One of the things I admire about your work.
Thanks. I just all right.
I'm not trying to pigeonhole you either. It's just,
Oh, I'm not worried about it. I don't mind that. Nothing that you said is offensive in any way. And no, it's all good. I just was getting back to the original story. When we started having some of the Crucible ideas, part of my brain gets kind of jammed up worrying about the stupid science of it, which is dumb.
yeah, I mean, that's only important if we're trying to make it scientifically believable.
Right.
Like, no part of Battlefield Earth was scientifically believable.
What?
But I
That was
enjoyed
like-
it, So,
Ah.
did you have a different idea?
No, the way my brain tends to work.
I actually did have a different idea for that by a little bit, but not for the same setting. It was actually for a different setting.
Well, see,
But
because
it would have taken it from being science fiction to being fantasy.
well, whatever. I mean, I don't care. The problem I have with the Dyson sphere thing is that I don't understand we collect solar energy on our planet now. So why is it? It's not a physical thing, and that was my problem. I'm like, what are we really shipping that? Like, if you're sending it back somewhere, why in the world aren't you just collecting it wherever? It's just, it didn't really make a lot of sense to me. I guess that's my problem with that concept.
Well, that's not our concept, though. That's the concept that we were working from.
Okay, that's fine.
Like, you didn't come up with the Dyson sphere.
Right.
And the Dyson sphere wouldn't be applicable anyway, like I was saying, because even Dyson said it's not possible.
Right.
But
and that's...
But the theory is to save resources, right?
Okay.
And to, collect from, I guess, either a new sun or one that's dying or something, so that you're using resources that we're losing, replenishing those resources from a source that isn't gonna suffer from it. I guess.
Yeah, I it's fine. I just...
Yeah, I was, thinking of it, the same thing as you were when we first started. It was more of a, these guys would kind of have a deep sea fisherman mentality,
Right, which I thought was kind of a neat idea, but I just, for that particular the deep sea fisherman thing is cool. I like that idea. I just couldn't. I have a hard time wrapping my head around how that applies with an entire star. And that's where I started saying, well, why does it have to be a giant star? That's just kind of the thought process as to...
Like I said, I guess it doesn't have to be a giant star. But my concern there is we couldn't do them collecting it from a gas giant or something like that, because Kevin J. Anderson did that. He has a whole series, Saga of Seven Suns, and everything was instigated because they were collecting from a gas giant. So we couldn't have that particular aspect.
At the same time, the idea of a prison next to a sun is just... I really like that idea.
I don't think it has to be next to a sun.
I just like that idea.
Oh.
I just like the idea that there.
I was thinking that you didn't like the idea.
No, I like the idea of that they have some job there. And, that sucks bad enough, but, I don't know. I just, no, the idea of a prison that's stationed by a sun and they have to harvest something was cool. It's just, I don't understand the harvesting part, which makes it hard for me to really get into it.
Okay.
And that's the part.
Well, that would be the shit that we're making up anyway. I mean, that would be our piece of bologna. It's how they're harvesting things. Like, for me, it would be something that moves fast enough around that sun. Because now we're not going to use the idea because we're putting it out in the public.
It doesn't matter if you put it out in the public.
It would be, yeah, it kind of does. But it's not a big deal. It would be something that moves fast enough around the sun not to melt, but to pick up the radiation or whatever that it's putting off, because that's the whole idea. How would that work? That's kind of what my conjecture was. Is it would have to be something that moves fast enough around it to not melt, because anything that you made of metal had to be forged so it could melt,
Right.
That creates that limitation.
This is where that whole research thing comes into it.
Well, and so I think it's totally fair to go, I'm not interested in doing that research because that shit makes my eyes roll back in the back of my head.
Well,
and let's do something that we can totally make up so we don't have to research. But I think we could write the story the same way with the same theory, because the story is about people, not about the way that they would actually be doing that. So if we were writing a totally bullshit space opera, like Star Wars, for instance, and they were collecting shit from the sun,
right?
We wouldn't have to tell you the logistics of how they're collecting shit from the sun. We would just have to state it, unless there was an expert in the field. I'm not talking about a fan that's an expert in the field, although it would be helpful if we knew somebody that was a expert in the field. Physicist is what I was thinking. And I'm probably wrong because science is not my strong suit. But
later on, when you're not, painting, I put I think I did. I thought I had. Oh yeah, I did. Okay, sweet. I put an article in Discord for you. It might help us. I don't need to get into the super. I'm not doing the math.
Right.
Just hands down, not happening. That's not that kind of story.
Like I said, if you don't want to write about that particular subject matter, we don't have to write about that specific subject matter. I can toss you out what I was thinking that is a different end of it. A different angle on it, I guess. And then you can decide, we could write something together still without having it be constrained on something that either one of us don't really want to research. I don't think that makes it any less, we just have to find something that we're both interested in. I guess I'm not afraid to be an idiot science-wise. If it's an idea that I really like and it just won't let me go, then it won't let me go. I don't have a choice in that matter. But and that's not to say that I think you're afraid, because that's not what I'm saying at all. Just saying that if people look at my stuff and go, like, this dude don't know shit about science, guess what? You get an A+. I don't know shit about science. I know a little bit about people.
Oh yeah. That is. Anyway. Yeah. No, I just did a little tiny bit of research, and now I'm like, oh, this there's one. later on after you've seen it, I'll tell you which one I think might be kind of really interesting. But ooh, yeah, it's still workable, and again, it's not the science that we're writing about; it's the people and how they're dealing with it, and all that kind of good stuff. But sometimes I have to know like what the physical challenges are. So
yeah, and we could also make up some.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying that there isn't. And we could ask somebody, like if you have a friend that's in science or physics or whatever.
I do know a few science teachers.
You can talk to them about the idea, or what would be logistic about the idea, or tell them, say, we were thinking about.
Yes. All right. Yep. Now that I've read this thing that I sent you, I'm actually completely on board. See, now I know enough. I know enough to know that it's there's a purpose, and it's not just dumb. It's one of those things where
why they're collecting, or
why they're collecting all that kind of stuff, and why you'd have to be there, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, there are crappy shows where you watch people do these things, and you're just like, what? Like, none of this makes sense. Like, it's a simple solution. They should know about it, and whatever. So, I don't know if it's just kind of my BS alarm going off whenever I get stuck like that, where I'm just like, this just seems stupid, and I can't get beyond it, even though it's not that big of an issue. Once it's resolved, everything else will work. So, yeah, that is, yeah, I think it can work. And I'll put another note, because some of the stuff, obviously, I don't necessarily want to get into online. Although, technically it's an idea. You can't copyright the idea.
No, you can't copyright the idea, but you can not give it away until you've finished your idea.
Oh, I agree. I understand. Anyway. Yeah, just knowing. I mean, because before, and I talked about this before a little bit, that sometimes it's good to know some basics of the setting so that I understand what my character is likely to experience, or the challenges the character is likely going to have to deal with. I want to know about the setting so that I can understand the character better. So, everything that we had discussed before, the thing I sent you, and then I highlighted, I sent you the full link, but then I also sent you the part in particular that I find interesting. With just that much information, and I think, I think it gives a basis for why people would be there. It gives a basis for everything that we need so that we can figure out the conflict and then everything else. Oh god.
Amazing how little it takes to change your mind, right?
Oh yeah.
I think after I finish this chest, that's my breaking point. That way I can just have to do that leg, that hand, and then the wing.
Okay.
Like I was saying, I wanted to find a breaking point that when I picked it up, I'm not picking up in the middle of something that's already.
Focus. All right. Now I'm back in focus.
What?
Oh, my camera just got blurry again. I had to go in and fix it. Are you getting an echo?
What?
Are you getting an echo?
No, I haven't been speaking, so I haven't heard anything.
Well, no.
Either.
It's like I can hear the music in my headphones, and then I can hear. Sounds like I could hear it on yours. I don't know if that makes sense. It's not doing it now. Maybe it was just the music. I don't know.
I watched the original 310 to Yuma
Oh yeah.
last night. The one that everyone's saying was so much better, and well, it's not.
Well, they said the original was better.
What's that?
They said the original was better.
Yeah, it's a Henry Fonda movie.
I like the modern one. I like it a lot.
What?
The more modern 310 to Yuma.
Yeah, the Christian Bale, Russell Crowe one.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, I agree. I liked it. There's I like that they gave Christian Bale's character a lot more motivation, a lot more. What I didn't like was he was supposed to be a coward and got shot in the leg and all this other shit because that's not part of the original story or the original movie.
Okay.
That was an invention added to it. Ben Wade is really supposed to be a charismatic figure, so I think Russell Crowe did fine with that. I really like that version a lot better. In the original movie version, the farmer lives and takes him to Yuma. Because it's not just getting him to the train, it's getting him to Yuma.
Yeah.
In the original version, there's his wife is in there too. It's not his kid that goes to the train station, it's his wife that goes to the train station. Which I didn't really see any need for. I don't think she added anything to the story, just a little bit of a complication.
Yeah.
Because I forget his name, Ben. The criminal overheard him talking to his wife, telling her that the boys will have something to remember him by, and then he's all worried about, what do you mean remember him by? I remember you by. Just the final thing that convinces Ben Wade to try and save him, but I think that him seeing for himself the motivation of the boys is a lot stronger.
Oh.
That would be the newer version. Yeah, I like that version better. Even though the hero doesn't die in the other one, it's kind of the farmer dying to show his sons that you stand up for what you believe or whatever. That makes it stronger. Watching the original, the motivation's not the same. I'm like, the reason that the farmer is even doing that, he's like, oh, it's just the money that I've got nothing against you. It's just the money that I need and all this. And if that was the case, then why didn't he take the money when Ben Wade offered him twice as much as he was making, and everybody else was still, quitting?
Right.
He could have taken the money and left at any time, but the second one makes the motivation of being an example for his kids a lot clearer, and saying basically he shot himself in the leg and he wanted to leave a more honorable memory or whatever. It just made it a lot stronger. So I'm watching it and I'm going like, why didn't he accept the money if that's all that he was in it for was the money?
Yeah, really.
Ben Wade was perfectly welcome or willing to pay him. And he didn't kill Charlie Prince. It was the farmer that killed Charlie Prince. Even if Charlie Prince died in that movie, like, I'm not really sure that was true because they both jumped on the train. The farmer didn't have a wooden leg and any of that shit. So Yeah, I guess that's as good a place to take me. Otherwise, we're gonna be here all night.
Okay.
Let's see. Do a little bit of close up on the body.
Wow.
Obviously, I've got a little bit too on the foot down here. A little bit to do on the hand right here. And a little bit to do on the horn, but not looking too bad as it is. Of course, I'm going to throw away a lot of paint again. But the positive note is that this white I have a whole other tube that I haven't broken into yet. And that
cool.
purple was the smallest dab of purple I could put on there. So. But this leg, those toenails, and a couple of highlights in that foot, and the knuckles and nails and a couple of highlights on this hand, a little bit highlights in the cheeks and the horn. I gotta redo the black because this horn shouldn't really even be visible. And then it's just the wings, and the wings will go a lot quicker because I'm not worried about doing all those little ripples and everything else. Though I might throw some veins in to the wings as I go too. So yeah, almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
Amazing how little I get done in that time, but yeah, how much I get done in that time too, right?
Right.
So anyone that watched, that likes it, hit like, subscribe, let us know that you liked it. Let us know that you like this type of content. If you want more of this type of content. That's it. Really. Good night. God bless.
Peace.